Hello, you're all very welcome here to Chadwick's Wexford Park for the next of our draws in the Wexford Club Hurling Championships, and we have 8 draws for you this evening. The Pettit Senior Hurling Championship semi-final draw, the Intermediate Hurling Championship quarter-final draw, the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Relegation, the Intermediate A Hurling quarter-finals, the Intermediate A Hurling Relegation, the Permanent TSB Junior Hurling Championship semi-final draw, the Permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship quarter-final draw, and the Junior A Hurling Championship relegation draw. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into the Pettit Super Value Senior Hurling Championship draw, and Micheál Martin is going to pull the draw for us for this one. And the 4 teams in it are the Shelmaliers, St Anne's Rathangan, the Rapparees and Lynn Barntown. And this draw is a very straightforward draw. The first team out will play the second team, and the third team out will play the fourth team. Repeat pairings are allowed, and these games will be played next weekend on the 12th of September as a double header here in Chadwick's Wexford Park. So, Micheál, you can go ahead and pull out the first.
Shelmaliers.
County champions Shelmaliers will play
St Anne's Rathangan.
St Anne's Rathangan. So that's a repeat pairing from the group stages, but as just to remind people who aren't familiar, repeat pairings are allowed.
Rapparees.
The Rapparees.
Lynn Barntown.
Will play Lynn Barntown. So just to recap on the 2 semi-final fixtures. In the Pettit Senior Hurling Championship semi-finals, the Shelmaliers will play St Anne's and the Rapparees will play Lynn Barntown next Sunday in Chadwick's Wexford Park. So our next draw now is the quarter-final draw for the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship. And in pot 1, we have the teams who placed first in the group stages: Oilgate, Glenbrine, St James's, Askamore and Gusran O'Rahilly's. In pot 2, we have Halfway House Bunclody, Blackwater, Buffer's Alley and Ballygarrett. And just before we pull any in here, there's a slight difficulty with the draw, or not with the draw, but the fact that there are 3 teams from Group D left in the draw, which means we're going to have to go extra slowly with this one to make sure that 2 teams could be pulled out who haven't met, but depending on who's left in the draw, that fixture mightn't be able to happen. So we're going to have to go quite slowly, depending on the way the thing will come out, to make sure that fixtures can happen. Okay, so the first ball out from Micheál Martin's drum is
Oilgate, Glenbrine.
Oilgate, Glenbrine. And from Bobby Goff,
Halfway House Bunclody.
Halfway House Bunclody. Now those 2 teams met in the group stages. So Halfway House Bunclody will go in to the second fixture, and we'll ask Bobby Goff to pull another ball from his.
Buffer's Alley.
Oilgate Glenbrine will play Buffer's Alley. And now Micheál Martin will pull who will play Bunclody.
Gusran O'Rahilly's.
Gusran O'Rahilly's. So we're okay with that one. So Micheál Martin for the
Askamore, Kilrush.
So Askamore, Kilrush.
St Bridget's, Blackwater.
St Bridget's, Blackwater. So we'll just check with the lads the permutations there. So those 2 teams met in the group stages. So Blackwater will go into fixture 4, and Bobby will pull again from his pot.
Ballygarrett Reltnamara.
So Askamore will play Ballygarrett. And the final ball in the drum then on Micheál Martin's side.
St. James.
St. James. So St. James go in to play Blackwater. So that completes the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship draw. And I'll just recap on the 4 fixtures. Oilgate Glenbrine will play Buffers Alley. Gusran will play Halfway House Bunclody. Askamore will play Ballygarrett. And St. James will play Blackwater. So we proceed now to the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship relegation draw. The 4 teams here are the losers of the preliminary quarterfinals: Tamun Camross, Rathgorough Cushenstown, St. Albans Adamstown, and Monageer Pool of Oak. And again, we have a very simple draw. The first team drawn will play the second team drawn, and the third team drawn will play the fourth team drawn. And repeat pairings are allowed. So, Bobby, may I ask you to pull first?
St. Albans Adamstown.
Adamstown will play
Monageer Pool of Oak.
So Adamstown will play Monageer Pool of Oak. The third team out then. Must be glued shut, but we get there.
Tamun Camross.
Tamun Camross will play
Rathgorough Cushenstown.
Rathgorough Cushenstown. So just a recap on the 2 relegation finals in the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship. Adamstown will play Monageer Pool of Oak. Tamun Camross will play Rathgorough Cushenstown. Those games will be played on the weekend of the 18th and 19th of September, so not next weekend. And I should have said that the intermediate quarterfinals will be played next weekend, the 11th and the 12th. Our next draw is the Intermediate A Hurling Championship quarter-final draw. In pot 1 are St. Martin's, Cranford, Tara Rocks and the Shelmaliers. In pot 2 are Owler to Balloch, Duffrey Rovers, Liam Mellows and St. Mary's Rosslare. And similar to the intermediate quarter-final draw, we're going to have to go quite slowly because there are 3 teams in this draw from the 1 pot. So even if a pairing comes out that in theory they haven't met before, it might mean that there are only 2 teams left in the drum that have already met, so that mightn't be able to happen. So we'll go slowly and we'll make sure that the draw works out properly. So Gavin can go first from pot 1.
St. Martin's.
St. Martin's will play
St. Mary's Rosslare.
St. Mary's Rosslare. And we're okay there, lads? Yep. So that's it. St. Martin's and Rosslare. Gavin?
Father O'Regan's Cranford.
Cranford. And Bobby?
Duffrey Rovers.
So Cranford, Duffrey Rovers. Is that okay, lads? We'll just pause and make sure we... So that's okay. So Cranford will play Duffrey Rovers. Gavin?
Shelmaliers.
Shelmaliers. Bobby?
Liam Mellows.
Shelmaliers. We just want to pause for a second now and yeah, so that fixture is okay. So the Shelmaliers will play Liam Mellows and Gavin will pull the final. We were just checking there to make sure we didn't have two teams from the same group. So Tara Rocks.
Owler de Balloch.
Tara Rocks will play Owler de Balloch. So we'll just double check all those four pairings there. St Martin's will play St Mary's Rosslare. Cranford will play Duffrey Rovers. Shelmaliers will play Liam Mellows. And Tara Rocks will play Owler de Balloch. And we have the thumbs up on those four fixtures. They're all okay. So that completes the Intermediate A Hurling Championship quarter-final draw. Now the next thing to be done is the relegation series of the Intermediate A Hurling Championship. And the four teams here in this are Geraldine O'Hanrahan's, Shamrocks, St Patrick's and Our Lady's Island. We can have repeat pairings, and Team 1 will play Team 2 and Team 3 will play Team 4. And these fixtures will take place on the 18th or 19th of September. So Gavin, you can pick first.
First team out is Our Lady's Island.
Our Lady's Island will play
Geraldine O'Hanrahan's.
Geraldine O'Hanrahan's. So Our Lady's Island will play Geraldine O'Hanrahan's.
And St Patrick's.
St Patrick's.
Play the Shamrocks.
Will play the Shamrocks. So the two pairings in the relegation series of the Intermediate A Hurling Championship are Our Lady's Island against Geraldine O'Hanrahan's and St Patrick's against the Shamrocks, and they'll be played on the 18th or 19th of September. Our next draw then is the semi-final draw for the permanent TSB Junior Hurling Championship. The four teams in this are obviously the winners of the quarterfinals: Kilmore, Glenbarntown, Banno Ballymitty and Horswood. Again, this is a semi-final draw, so we can have repeat pairings. Team 1 will play Team 2, Team 3 will play Team 4. These games will be played next weekend on the 11th or the 12th of September. So on you go, Gavin. We'll see who's out first.
Kilmore.
Kilmore will play
Glenbarntown.
Glenbarntown. Kilmore will play Glenbarntown.
Banno Ballymitty.
Banno Ballymitty.
And Horswood.
Banno will play Horswood. So the two fixtures, the two semi-finals for the permanent TSB Junior Hurling Championship are Kilmore versus Glenbarntown and Banno Ballymitty versus Horswood. Our next draw then is the quarter-final draw for the permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship. In pot 1 are the teams who placed first in the group stages: St Fintan's, Rathgorow Cushenstown, Tara Rocks and St Anne's. And in pot 2 we have the teams who won the preliminary quarter-final: Clongeen, Naveana, Oilgate Glenbrine and Owler de Balloch. And again, similar to our other quarter-final draws, there are 3 teams in this draw from the same group. So again, we'll go quite slowly to make sure that the permutations work out to allow all the fixtures to be able to happen without repeat pairings. So, Micheál Martin to draw first.
St Anne's Rathangan.
St Anne's Rathangan.
Owler de Balloch.
Cannot play Owler de Balloch because they've already played in the group stages. So Owler de Balloch go into fixture 2, and we'll ask Bobby to pick again from his bowl.
Oilgate Glenbrine.
And St Anne's cannot play Oilgate Glenbrine either. So Oilgate Glenbrine go into fixture 3. And we ask Bobby again to pick from his bowl.
Clongeen.
So Clongeen. So St Anne's will play Clongeen. We're just going to pause for a moment now to make sure that the remaining permutations are okay. So Micheál can go ahead.
Tara Rocks.
Tara Rocks, and this is to see if they can play Owler to Balloch. They haven't met, but we have to check who's left in the pots.
Yep.
So that fixture is okay, and Micheál will have to pull again.
Rathgro Cushistown.
So Rathgro Cushistown will play Oilgate Glenbrine. And fixture 4 then, Micheál to pull.
St Fintan's.
St Fintan's will play the final team left. Naveana. So that was an unusual draw, the way that draw worked out. But just to recap on the 4 fixtures, St Anne's will play Clongeen, Tara Rocks will play Owler to Balloch, Rathgro Cushistown will play Oilgate Glenbrine, and St Fintan's will play Naveana. So there are the 4 quarterfinals of the permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship. We move on now to the relegation series of the permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship. And the 4 teams in this pot are Rathnewer, Clubon, Adamstown and Buffers Alley. Again, these are relegation games. They will be played in 2 weeks on the 18th or the 19th of September. The first team out. Just a reminder, in relegation, repeat pairings can happen.
Buffers Alley.
Buffers Alley will play
Adamstown.
Adamstown. So Buffers Alley will play Adamstown. They've already played, but they can play again because this is a relegation series.
Rathnewer St Anne's.
Rathnewer
Clubon.
will play their neighbours Clubon. So the 2 pairings of the relegation series in the permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship are Buffers Alley versus Adamstown and Rathnewer against Clubon. So that completes all of the draws that we have here this evening for you in Chadwick's Wexford Park. I'm just going to give you the quarter-final pairings for the Junior B Hurling Championship. In quarter-final 1, St Mogues Feather. These were already predetermined because one district winner plays a different district runner-up and so forth. Feathert will play Askamore. Cranford will play Geraldine O'Hanrahan's. Bunclody will play the Wexford district runners-up. The Wexford district final is being played on Wednesday night between Blackwater and Nafina. So Bunclody will play the runners-up. Duffrey Rovers will play the winners of the Wexford district. And those games will be played next weekend again. So just before we go off the stream, we'll just double check with everyone here that are doing the permutations that we're all happy with the fixtures, and I'll recap through them all again in case you were joining us late. So for the Pettit Senior Hurling Championship semi-finals, Shelmaliers play St Anne's and Rapparees play Glenbarntown. In the quarter-finals of the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship, Oilgate Glenbrine play Buffers Alley, Gusseron play Halfway House Bunclody, Askamore play Ballygarrett, and St James play Blackwater. And in the relegation series of the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Championship, Adamstown play Monagear Boulavogue, Tamun Camross play Rathgro Cushistown. In the Intermediate A Hurling Championship, the quarter-finals are St Martin's versus St Mary's Rosslare, Cranford versus Duffrey Rovers, Shelmaliers versus Leam Mellows, and Tara Rocks versus Owler to Balloch. And in the relegation pairings then we have Our Lady's Island against Geraldine O'Hanrahan's and St Patrick's against the Shamrocks. In the permanent TSB Junior Hurling Championship semi-finals, Kilmore will play Glenbarntown and Banno Ballymitty will play Horswood. In the permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship quarter-finals, St Anne's will play Clongeen, Tara Rocks will play Owler to Balloch, Rathgorough Cushenstown will play Aldgate Glenbrine, and St Fintan's will play Nevena. In the relegation series of the permanent TSB Junior A Hurling Championship, Buffers Alley will play Adamstown and Rathnewer will play Clabon. So we wish all of the teams involved in those games over the next 2 weekends the very best of luck. We've seen some very exciting games over this weekend as we did the previous weekends. Thanks for joining us for the draw, and we hope to see you at the games. Just a word on attendances. There'll be increased attendances for next weekend's games. There'll be further information sent out to people during the week, both on social media and via club secretaries. So we hope to see good crowds back at games, and thanks very much for joining us tonight.